Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world we're living in. Oh my God, it's crazy, isn't it? Gets crazier every day for all sorts of reasons. But you know what? Despite everything, it's still a beautiful world. It's a beautiful world when we wake up in the morning and we have our little creature comforts and the sun's shining or the birds are singing and we've got a roof overhead, something nice to drink, something nice to eat. We are in heaven, really, aren't we? We have to look at it that way. But of course, yeah, a lot of crazy things are going on though, and a lot of people are not so lucky. I feel blessed every day. I just try and look at the positive side of everything. That's very important because things do go wrong, don't they? Hey, that's my dog trying to see if there's any food on the table. Yeah, we just have to make the best of our lives, make the best of our lot, whatever it may be. And sometimes we do go through terrible problems. Oh, there's a million things can go wrong, isn't there? Bereavement, illness, physical illness or mental illness, or the physical illness or mental illness of one of our loved ones. It's not always us that it happens to, but of course, then we have to be the strong one for them. Financial problems, job problems, relationship problems, child problems, either, people, or maybe you can't have children, and then people who've got children, they've got problems with them. The list is never ending, isn't it? But whatever the problem, we deal with it. We can all come together on here at least, and we can't fix each other's problems, but we can talk about them. Quite a lot of people get solace from my channel, which always amazes me, and I'm so grateful for that. And I'm glad. Sometimes it's a nice emails that you send me, saying that you're happy to come, you like coming in the chat or watching the lives, or that for some reason videos that I make you feel better. Maybe you're like-minded to me. Those are the things that keep me going in my channel as well, because reporting a true crime, it is quite depressing sometimes. You do get down, you do get too invested in cases can take over you a bit. So when somebody thanks me in some way, sometimes people do it in a financial way. They buy a coffee, they leave a nice message, or they send a super sticker. Sometimes they just email me, they leave a nice comment. All these things make such a big difference to my channel, which leads me into my thank yous. I think I'll start off saying my thank yous. Thank you for liking, thank you for subscribing. Remember, they're completely free ways you can support my channel if you like it. If you don't like my channel, well, that's fine. You don't have to support it. Then, of course, don't forget I have another channel. So for those of you who maybe you're new to my channel and you're thinking, what's she going on about? Just get on with it. That's because this is the Waffle channel. This channel that you're watching at the moment, Vicky Marie Chats, is the Waffle channel. So I do, tend to waffle a little bit. And these are lives normally. And then after I've finished this stream, I will edit it and cut out the waffle, and I will upload it on the True Crime Chats channel, this one. So please don't forget to subscribe there, and don't forget to press the notification bell. All that is free. And then you will get a sort of an edited version of this video without the waffle. But some people like the waffle. So I'm trying to please everybody. I like to have a little waffle here and there. And yeah, but if you don't like the waffle, and I appreciate that a lot of people don't, they just want to get to the nitty gritty, then that is the channel you should follow. Okay, so that's that. I'll leave it up there a moment. I'm going to I'll put something else there in a moment. So yes, thank you, lovely lurkers, for watching. Thank you. Hello. Hope you're all well. Hello, replay crew, the people that can't watch the lives but watch afterwards. Thank you so much. And I think there's a couple of people in chat. Let's have a look who's actually brave enough to come into the chat. Hi, Mark. Hi, Lily. Of course, yeah, because you'll be in bed, Mark, because you're the other side of the world, aren't you? So it's night time for you. Okay, we're going to have a little waffle, actually. Not there's some barking going on upstairs. Hey, come here. Come down. Stop causing trouble. Stop causing trouble. So yes, I'm having a little waffle about this and a little whinge about this. This is an eyeliner. It's a very good eyeliner. Actually, I've got it on. It's fantastic. So I was running out of eyeliner. So in my local supermarket this morning, when I say my local, the Spanish chain of supermarkets, the most popular one I would say is Mercadona, it's called. There's Mercadonas all over Spain. Mr. Mercadona started the business from nothing, and apparently now Mercadona is the most profitable supermarket in the world. Apparently, I was reading that this morning. I don't know if that's true, but I saw it. Anyway, it has a range called, I should try and get him to sponsor me, shouldn't I? He has a range in the Mercadona supermarkets. If you ever come to Spain on holiday, go to Mercadona. And for those of you who live in Spain, I'm sure you know about Mercadona. But when you go on holiday, always look up your nearest Mercadona to buy makeup, because it's got a range called Deli Plus. Fantastic makeup, at good prices. And I had a black eyeliner for that, which I'd had for years. Anyway, they don't do that one anymore. I was looking for that one. And I got this one instead. So it's like a kohl pencil, a eyeliner to line your eyes, of course. Oh, great. Yeah, I think it was €2.50. So this is what I mean. These are good value products in Deli Plus. Not only makeup, but all your toiletries, perfumes, creams, you name it. They've got everything. And it's all their own range, their own special range. And it's all good price and really good stuff. Just as good as if you would pay, I don't know how much you would pay for an eyeliner. You might pay 30 quid or something if it was, posh one. I don't know. I never spend a lot on makeup. I just don't think it's worth it. I'm sure it is with some things, but I just don't, because it's just makeup. So I'd rather buy, just buy what I need. Anyway, but it's important with eyeliner to have a very soft pencil, because otherwise it hurts basically, or it stretches your eyes, doesn't it? When you try and line your eyes, it's got to be a very nice soft pencil, otherwise it's going to hurt. Anyway, this is great. I tried the tester. In fact, I nearly tried to buy the tester. I'm always doing that. I didn't realise it was a tester. Well, one of the, to pay for my things, the woman on the till just disappeared for a minute. And I thought, well, where's she gone? I was packing packing the stuff in bags. And I thought, well, that's a bit rude. She's just walked off. Well, it came that it was time to pay. Where's she gone? Anyway, she came back and she said, oh, you picked up the probador, the tester. She said you were trying to buy the tester. So I felt awful then, because I'm thinking, well, where is she when I'm ready to pay? And she was off changing the tester for a new one. So anyway, just before I came on stream today, I thought, oh yeah, I'll put some of that eyeliner on that new eyeliner that I've just bought. Could I get in it? Have you noticed this? What is going on with packaging? It is a real bugbear of mine. I'm sure you all. It's not only this, but like while I was in the supermarket, I was trying to get a few individual cartons, but they're all you've got to, so they're in there's 6 of them in a pack. So, I've got to dig in my nails to try and open this plastic to get the individual cartons out. And then when I come to open this, I had to get scissors on it. I couldn't exist without scissors. If I didn't have scissors to get in all the packaging today, have you noticed? Even a packet of crisps, I used to just be able to pull them open them, leave them on the table so you could all, just pick a few. You can't, you need a bloody Black and Decker drill to get in a packet of crisps these days, or a pair of scissors. Of course, scissors are my need to have item. Everything that you try and open, every plastic thing you try and open, and everything's wrapped in plastic. Not only food, every item that you buy, it's in a plastic thing that you need to be an FBI agent to get into, or have a special lock opener. I mean, it's just unbelievable. So we're all being told to save the planet, recycle everything, do this, do that. I thought we were supposed to be using less plastic, not more. And so finally, and still the plastic hasn't come off, but because I cut it with scissors, I managed to get the lid off. But the plastic is so well wrapped. You just can't get the plastic off it. It's ridiculous. What's that about? Now I know that when you buy a new eyeliner or it's peeling off now, or any new makeup, it's good to know that nobody else has used it before. I mean, bloody hell, no one's gotten this before, that's for sure. Can't even get in it now that it's been sort of half opened. Just ridiculous. But trying to get it off. It's crazy. But so I'd like to see less packaging, especially because it's all plastic. Do we really need to use so much plastic? Does it really need, does it really need to be wrapped the whole way along? Surely it could just have a seal around the lid. Why does it have to be, oh, there you go. Is it coming off? Why does it have to be the whole thing? There, it's come off, the bottom bits come off, but they're still on the lid. So anyway, I just wanted to have a whinge about that. On the positive side, it's a beautiful day here in Spain. It's sunny, it's not windy, it's not raining. It's a beautiful blue sky. It's not really, really hot, though it's not cold. It's 15 degrees here in Spain. Lovely time to be here on holiday because it's not too hot, but you could definitely sunbathe in this. I'm hoping to get a bit of sun later. I'm always the whitest person in Spain. Do you know, when I first came to Spain, because the thing is, you come to live in Spain, and unless you're very lucky and you've got loads of money or you're retired, you have to work. So you quite often get to the beach. I get to the beach less often. I'm always like the whitest person in the room. Like most of my family are more tan than me. Well, because they go probably for spray tans and stuff. I don't know, in Manchester. But when I first came to Spain, I used to go on sunbeds. Believe it or not, every Friday I would go on sunbed for an hour. And people would say to me, "Oh my God, you live in Spain, you have to go on a sunbed." It's like, yes, because I work full time, so I don't have time to go and sit on the beach, unfortunately. Sometimes I think people think because you live in Spain, you just sat on the beach all the time with a cocktail. Every time you go to the beach and you've got friends, and then you go to the beach with them. And you act more like a tourist, but most of the time it's work. It's just normal life, but nicer weather, warmer normally. That's all. But it's still, it's still work. It's still all the same problems that you would have in a cold country. It's just a pleasanter environment. Now, it's definitely a pleasanter environment. This lovely, I was saying to my son this morning, the lovely view that he has on the way to work makes it a pleasure to drive him to work, really, apart from the petrol, of course. It's just beautiful. It is a beautiful country. Most of it is. Anyway, having said that, oh my God, the crime, what is going on? Once you start looking at the crime, no wonder they call it the Costa del Crime, or the crime coast. There's so much crime here, and of course, in the holiday areas, not so much where I live. Um, I live in a Spanish village, but there is still crime. But it's not the same as the crime like on the coast, all the coast. Obviously there's drug crime wherever you're at a tourist hotspot. There'll be drugs, robberies, pickpocketing, bag snatching. I'm always saying to you guys, when you go on holiday, don't leave your safety brains behind at home. You have to make sure you're safe wherever you go, perhaps even more so on holiday. There's people go on holiday, where you live, what are the dangerous areas where maybe you shouldn't be walking around at night, or maybe there's a lot of robberies or a lot of muggings in certain areas that you know of because you know your area where you live. When you go on holiday, especially when it's sunny, everyone thinks, oh, this is lovely. There's no crime here. Nothing ever happens here. Well, it does. And in fact, if anything, it feels like at the moment there's like some sort of a crime wave going on. And of course, let me take my banner off actually. We started looking at this in a big way, really, when this man was murdered right in Orihuela Costa. A lot of you will know Orihuela Costa. If you don't know Orihuela Costa, you will know Torrevieja is a popular holiday spot near to Orihuela Costa, or you will know Benidorm. You will know one of those places, and none of those places are that far away from what happened to this poor guy. And this, of course, is John George, and we followed this case right from the beginning, didn't we? Now, oh my God, I cannot keep up with the developments in this case. Just as I was planning this video today, there was another development. This is like one of those stories that is stranger than fiction, but it is real and it affects real people and real people's lives. But it's like really stranger than fiction, the whole story, and it's continuing to be like that. So John George, I think he was 37 or late 30s anyway, a father of two boys from Belfast in Northern Ireland. And he came out to Spain. Now, nobody is under any illusions that John George was a saint, even his own family. As much as he is completely loved, you can see his family love him, adore him. He was like this, in many ways, a shining light of their family, always smiling. But he went the wrong way in life. And I think they would all admit that he got involved in things he shouldn't have got involved in. And very sadly, he paid for that with his life. For the mixing with the wrong people, one way or another, he got involved in drugs. Now there's a big drug scene in that area in Orihuela Costa, not only trafficking of drugs, but, a lot of holiday makers who come out. And so there's a big drug dealing sort of area, the strip in Cabaroig where everybody goes out and that drugs are openly sold there. There are cannabis. It's legal to go and smoke drugs in a cannabis club. Only cannabis, of course. There are many cannabis cafes in the area, and it is legal to go in these cannabis cafes, smoke a joint or whatever, though you're not supposed to remove the cannabis from you're supposed to buy it in there, smoke it in there. You're not supposed to go in there and buy it and then leave, but you can do that in most of them. People do it, but you take a risk on doing that. So cannabis laws in Spain are a bit strange because you're allowed to grow it as well. There are many shops where you can buy all the paraphernalia to grow cannabis. And you are legally allowed to have 3 cannabis plants in your home for your own personal cannabis use, or go to these cannabis cafes, etc. So, there's not you know, the police aren't going around looking for people who are smoking a joint, you know. Having said that, you're not allowed to deal it. Dealing it is an offence, of course, but of course there are lots of dealers. Uh, you know, just some people say that every second house and every second person and someone's mum and their mum is a drug dealer. I'm not. I just tell you that. I don't like cannabis at all. I wish I did really, because a lot of people seem to quite enjoy it. But personally, I have tried it when I was young. I think I didn't exhale though, or inhale. No, I'm only joking. I think most people, that's as far as I've ever gone. Now, I never liked the idea of drugs. I don't know why. Maybe it's a generational thing. You know, in my day, like we used to go out and get drunk. That was what we did. But people did smoke drugs and that. But it just never anything. I don't know. I tried it a couple of times, didn't like it. Luckily for me, because of course sometimes cannabis can be a gateway drug to stronger drugs, and you know there are some drugs that just send you absolutely loopy. And personally, I think cannabis sends you loopy if you're young and your brain's not developed yet. But I know that there are many adults who smoke cannabis. A lot of people say it helps them with arthritis and things like that. Pains, helps them manage pain. Of course, now you can buy cannabis oil and stuff. You don't have to actually smoke it, because if you don't smoke, you know, it's unpleasant, isn't it? But you can put it in cakes, of course. You can put it in all sorts of things. Anyway, I see I'm waffling again. Well, John was involved in more drugs than that, you know, harder drugs than that. We don't know the extent of his involvement. He was definitely involved in things that weren't really ideal. So I think we can safely say that without being insulting to John's memory or to his family, because even they acknowledge, you know, he did get involved in things that were a bit nefarious, let's say. Now, the exact circumstances of what happened to John, I don't think we do really know. All that we do know is he disappeared. He was over in Spain, in the Orihuela Costa. He phoned his dad, who used to phone very often. And he seemed anxious, didn't he? In that we watched that video of him in that last phone call, the last phone call they knew of. He seemed a little bit anxious. He was showing off a new watch. He was with other people, you know, in the apartment where he was when he made the phone call. It was a video call. Hi, David. So, you know, he was, he was there, and he seemed a bit anxious. He seemed like he had had a drink or taken some substances, the way he was talking. Anyway, he left his message, and that was it. He was never heard from again. And the family started to worry about him, especially when the flight that he was supposed to return home to Northern Ireland on, he wasn't on it. And that's, I think, when alarm bells really started to ring. In the meantime, there was things going on behind the scenes that we don't know about. You know, the family seemed to be aware that John had somebody let them know that he had been red-rummed. And his family, this was all around about Christmas, not last year, the Christmas before, and his family and friends, some of them came out and was searching for John all over the area. And that nobody will forget his dad, Billy, how upset he was, begging. I know, I could get upset just thinking about it. Begging for his son's body to be returned to him, knowing that his son was dead or likely dead, and begging for the people to return, you know, at least let him know where his body was so he could take him home. And I think that's what touched us all, because whatever we think about John, I mean, his lifestyle choices weren't ideal, But, you know, no one, the family, what they were going through, the pain in Billy's voice was pretty evident. So, and of course his siblings, John's siblings as well, not only, and John's mum. But I think Billy really took, because he was quite often on social media talking about it. Anyway, it turned out that they were looking in the completely wrong place. They had a search team come over from Northern Ireland, which again, sadly, was looking in the wrong place. And John's body finally was found miles away from where they'd been looking for him, in a lemon grove in Rochales, you know, quite a long way from Orihuela Costa, you know, about 30-minute drive. So he'd been driven out to the campo, we call it here, and dumped on a finca, which is like a small holding, under a lemon tree. And he had been stabbed, he'd been stripped, he'd been shot, and he was deceased, and he'd been lying there all that time. All over Christmas, all over New Year, that's what his family were doing. They weren't celebrating Christmas. They were looking for John's body, and finally, the Guardia Civil found the body. It's unclear. Did they find his body, or did this man, who ended up Michael Maly, one of the suspects in the case, was it him who led the police to the body? You know, that's again not clear. I don't know if that'll ever become clear now in view of what's happened since. So poor John's family, but at least they had their son, their brother, their loved one. They took him back to Northern Ireland and they buried him with dignity. And it was heartbreaking. The funeral was heartbreaking. Those, his boys, you know, whatever John's choices were in his life, and maybe he made wrong choices, but he was still, you know, that's not his son's fault, is it? You know, so some people are quite heartless, aren't they? Still, oh, well, he got what he deserved. Well, as far as I know, John didn't kill anybody. So how did he get what he deserved? And maybe he did choose the wrong lifestyle, but, you know, there, but for the grace of God go our sons, or us, or our brothers, or our dads. So anyway, so 2 people finally were arrested, weren't they? So this is one of them. This is Michael Maly. He's a Czech national. He was in his early 30s. He was arrested. This is Torrevieja courts that the police were taking him to, where he was bailed. He was bailed under conditions, like he had to surrender his passport, he had to report to the bail office, wherever you have to report to every couple of weeks or whatever. But he was bailed, so he was cooperative with the police right from the beginning, from what we can gather. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean he's innocent, of course. He may be as guilty as anything as for the murder of John. But he cooperated with the police, and that's why he got bail. I think maybe later he might have regretted getting bail. He probably would have been safer in prison, to be honest. Anyway, the other person, of course, then that was suspected in the murder of John George is Johnny Smith, and this is his now wife, Madison Smith, I suppose now. At the time she was Madison Allen. She was only 19 years old. She's an OnlyFans model. And Johnny and Madison, whereas Michael Maly stayed and cooperated with police, Madison and Johnny, they sort of legged it. And apparently they went to Gibraltar. They got married in Gibraltar. They then went to Portugal, where they were finally caught by the police and brought back to Spain, extradited to Spain and back to the Alicante area. And Johnny was refused bail at the time and put in prison, in the Alicante prison. And then, of course, his lawyers fought hard to get bail for him, to get him released. He has always insisted he did not kill John, that it was Michael. So right from the beginning, It was him saying it was Michael Maly, Michael Maly saying it was him. Who knows where the truth lies? Maybe Johnny is innocent of killing John George, or maybe it was Michael Maly, or maybe it was Johnny. You know, we just don't know. Nobody's really, you know, no one's saying, "Oh, yeah, it was me." I suppose that's pretty obvious, really. Anyway, then just before Christmas, oh, what happened first? God, there's so many things that have happened. I'm trying to remember. So while he was in prison, the reason that he'd married Madison while he was on the run is that he had conjugal visits. So you're allowed a conjugal visit in Spain once a month. So he was, as long as you're married. So he was receiving conjugal visits from Madison. And then Madison herself was arrested for drug offences. She had a massive amount of drugs in her car and weapons. So she was then arrested and bailed. I think it was 40,000 euros or something. And then at Christmas, lo and behold, Johnny was bailed. 100,000 euros he had to put up for his bail. He found it from somewhere. And Johnny was released just before Christmas. And I do think, you know, whatever the circumstances, I mean, it may well be that Johnny is innocent. I don't know, because I wasn't there. But it must have been really galling for John George's family to, you know, what they would have gone through this Christmas without John and New Year. Whereas at the time, both Johnny then and Michael Maly were out and enjoying their Christmas. You know, must be really galling, that, mustn't it, really? You know, if you think about it. You know, anyway, that was the situation. So at Christmas and New Year, both the suspects were waiting for the court case. Justice moves slowly in Spain. Sadly, you know, court cases take a long time. Who know? We still don't even know what court case is going to, for the murder of John George, is finally going to be held. Then, gosh, what happened then? Oh, then Michael Maly. Or what came first? Was it, did Madison kill the guy? So at some point, I can't remember which one happened first. I think it was Madison. She had a car accident, and a man died. A 50-odd-year-old non-Spanish man. He's never been named. We don't know. I don't know what his name was, but she crashed into the back of him, probably doing a TikTok video in her car, because that's what she does, TikTok videos where she, you know, mouth syncs to different songs. And, you know, fair enough, a lot of young girls do that, and why not? But whether she was making one of those videos when she crashed into the pool, she crashed into a car with 4 people in it, and 1 person died. So added now to Madison. So Madison added to her charges of drugs, weapons. Now we've got manslaughter. She was banned apparently from social media, though she did go on social media again afterwards. So that were, and then, you know, it just never ends, this story. Then after that, this guy, the other suspect, Michael Maly, was brutally shot and murdered 12 times. I read that he was shot in the head. I don't know if that's true, but that's what they're saying in the, you know, Facebook, in the local press, etc. In a holiday, beautiful place I've been to many times with my dogs, Rocio del Mar in Punta Prima, near Torrevieja. And he was found in a pool of blood and he'd been shot. So he's gone, dead. He won't be testifying. He won't be in court. Does this make it easier now for Johnny Smith to say it wasn't Johnny Smith, it was him who did it? Is he going to be literally the fall guy then? What is, you know, anyway, there has been some breaking news today that somebody has been arrested for the murder of Michael Maly. I don't know many details yet. I only know he was arrested in the Murcia region of Spain, which is right next to Alicante. And he has not been given bail, thank God. He has been referred to prison, but we don't know who. I don't know yet who this guy is. His name will come out. There was talk about it being a Liverpudlian guy who did it, a hitman. Was this a hit? And if it was a hit, who ordered it? Is it to do with the John George case? The thing is, it seems like Michael Maly was involved in many things. So this could be totally unrelated to the John George case. Some people are saying, people have said that Michael Maly had boasted that he had killed people before, but then his dad came on in an interview and said, no, my son, was not involved in all these things, and he was never in the Foreign Legion, because there was rumours that he'd been in the Foreign Legion, all sorts of things. So, of course, his dad came up and his dad saying, no, he wasn't involved in any of those things. But, we know that sometimes parents, dads and mums don't want to admit, what their child is capable of. It's quite difficult, isn't it, to face up to the fact that your son might be a drug runner or a murderer or whatever. But I don't know. The thing is, I don't know enough about it to know what's true, what isn't true. All we do know that is true is this man, Michael Maly. Now, he's dead, shot 12 times in the head, or at least, I don't know if that's true, it was 12 times, but shot in the head, left to die. Oh, and in the meantime, so I'm missing out one thing. So far we've got the murder of John George. We've got the arrest for the drugs and the guns of Madison. Johnny went on the run, of course, immediately after John George was killed. Then another guy who sort of seems to be on the periphery of all this, Dan McMeekin, he was stabbed in the neck and left to die in Lasagna in Orihuela, Costa. And he survived somehow. He was caught in time, taken to hospital before he'd lost too much blood. He'd gone outside to go to the loo. Apparently, that's what, I don't know what he'd gone outside for. And he was stabbed in the neck by somebody who just left him to die. Anyway, he was saved. He was taken to the hospital. He was saved. And he's gone quiet now. I think he's back in Ireland, and he was completely off the rails here in Spain. He was robbing bars. There was video footage circulating all over all the Facebook groups about him. He was quite. Again, the thing is, I do think this story is sad on every level you can imagine. Because it's just tragic, isn't it? You've got Madison, who's 20, 21 now. She was only 19 when it all happened. You've got Johnny Smith. He's not that old himself. He's not even 30. Dan McMeekin, early 20s. This guy's 32. I don't know if he had children. John George, of course, he's got his children and his family. It's sad on every level, isn't it? It's all, all this. Just think, where is it going to end? The guy who died when Madison Allen ran into the back of him. This tragedy after tragedy. When's it going to end? When is it going to end, or how is it all going to end? It's very sad. Anyway, as I say, sad on all levels. Personally, sad for this guy's dad who still wants to believe he's not a bad person. And maybe he wasn't a bad person. I don't know if he was or not, but then he's apparently been boasting to people that he's killed somebody else. just like this lifestyle that they're in. It's horrible, and it can only lead to tragedy, really, can't it? It's always going to lead to tragedy. And John George was perhaps, well, apart from the guy that was killed by Madison in the car, he was 52, I think. Then John George would be the next oldest person who's in his late 30s. But even that's too young, isn't it? And his kids being left without a dad, etc. So just, it's a very tragic story all round, and I can feel some sympathy for everybody concerned. So where do we go from here? So what was the next thing that happened? Oh, that's right. So then what recently happened just within the last couple of days is Johnny Smith and Madison were arrested again for gun offences. Gun offences. Let's have a look. What does it actually say? Oh, actually, I'm going to play this video. So this is a TikTok video by Alison Morris, who's a crime reporter in Ireland, and she's going to tell you what they were arrested for. Oh, hang on. Right, I want to go back to the beginning of this. How do I do that? How do I do that? No, no. Right, might have to. I don't think. No, I'll go back to the beginning. Oh, there you go. So that's interesting. Now, then, surely they must know that they're being watched. I mean, what I don't understand is, whatever they were involved in or weren't involved in before, they must know that they are targets now, surely. Do they think the Guardia aren't watching them, or the Policia Nacional, she's saying, were involved this time? And I think it's important to understand. Oh, no sound, David. Okay, I'll play it again in a moment. It's important. This is the Policia Nacional that apparently apprehended them. So there are three groups of police in Spain. You've got your Policia Local, who do exactly what it says on the tin. They deal with local issues, like, I don't know, neighbours' disputes. They cross the children over the road to go to school. They deal with, I don't know, more local matters. Then you've got the Guardia Civil, and they deal with more serious matters. They are like the military police. They would have been the ones that were sort of executing people when it was under Franco. And then you've got the Policia Nacional. And the only way, I was trying to think how I would describe the Policia Nacional. And they are like a bit like the FBI. That's they, because of course Spain is divided into different provinces and autonomous communities. But the Policia Nacional, it's like in America when crimes cross state lines, the FBI, it becomes a federal offence, doesn't it? It's the same in Spain. The Policia Nacional deal with the whole of Spain. So if it's a serious crime that crosses the frontiers of the autonomous communities, it would be the Policia Nacional who would deal with the FBI and Interpol and all that kind of things for cases that cross countries, like with Anna Knežević, who was murdered in Madrid but she was American nationality. So it'd be the Policia Nacional that would deal with the FBI because she was American citizen, but living in Spain. So when it crosses boundaries like that, so the Policia Nacional, basically, you can say, are the most serious police in Spain, and if they're involved in it, it's big. This is not a local, small time sort of thing. If the Policia Nacional are watching, and I do wonder, the Policia Nacional, for them to be involved, seems to me, like it's a big thing. Maybe Madison and Johnny are small fish in a big pool, and maybe that's why they keep getting released. Maybe the Policia Nacional, are hoping to catch bigger fish by watching Madison and Johnny, because it seems to me strange when you hear from. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to take that off and put it back on again. Sometimes it works then. The sound wasn't working, so if I take it off, if I remove it and then put it back in, sometimes it works then. Yeah, maybe that's why they're being released. Maybe the Policia Nacional are enjoying watching them and finding out other things that they might find out. Just don't know, do we? Is that why? Why would they be? Let's try putting that in again. Now let me know if this time you can hear it. Mm. You don't know why you can't hear it. It drives me absolutely mad, this, because I can hear it. I can hear fine what Alison is saying. So let's try one more time. Anyway, just in case you can't hear it, so they were arrested last Wednesday as part of an undercover drug sting by the Policia Nacional, so by the more sort of important police, if you like. So just in case you can't hear that, which probably you can't. So apparently what Alison is saying happened is the police were watching them, the Policia Nacional, they came out of their house, they were arguing, and it was getting out of hand, the argument. I mean, it actually makes me go cold to think what might happen in the end, in that, when there's drugs and guns and where's it all going to end? Where's it all going to end? But anyway, so apparently they were having an argument. The argument got out of hand. So the police intervened. And that's when they found guns. She's going to tell us exactly what they found. You might not be able to hear it, so I'll tell you. So on him, he had a pistol. They found a pistol on him, And then they got a search warrant and searched the property and found a disassembled handgun. Some magazines, 100 rounds of ammunition, a bulletproof vest. 2 knives, a balaclava, and gloves. So this is a guy. Now, this is what you tell me what you think about this. I've got my own theory about this, and a friend of mine told me his theory about it, and I think he's right. You tell me how someone who is on bail for murder and somebody else who is on bail for drugs offences and firearm offences gets caught again with guns, ammunition, knives, balaclava, bulletproof vest, and doesn't get their bail revoked. Does that sound normal to you? Surely a condition of bail for anything is not being able to have a weapon. Spain isn't America. You're not allowed to just wander around with guns. You have to get, people do get guns, for hunting and things like that, but they have to get a license, etc., from the town hall. I doubt very much that Johnny's got a license for his guns. So somebody please explain to me what the reason might be to re-release somebody who's on bail for murder, who gets caught with guns, and not only, more than one gun and knives and balaclava, etc., and gets re-released again into the community. What would be the reason for that, do you think? So she says they were held for 3 days and then they were released. And she said, before you start asking me why they were released, I don't know, she said. She doesn't know. Okay, now, why do you think, I'd be very interested in your thoughts. Why do you think they were released? Why would the police release people who are under all those offences and re-release them? To me, it seems like there's two options. One, I think both the options mean the same thing ultimately. I think the police have got bigger fish to fry, and they think Madison and Johnny are going to lead them to these other people, either intentionally or, just through their stupidity. I don't know. But because it does seem to be acting, I hope that none of us are ever on bail for murder, of course. But imagine if you were, and you were innocent, especially, you'd make sure your hands were clean, wouldn't you? You wouldn't want to go back to prison, would you? Or maybe quite enjoyed it in prison. I don't know. I don't know what it's like in a Spanish prison. But I hope I never have to find out. But you would make sure, if you could, of course, because the thing is, sometimes I think that this life that these people are living, it's not a choice in the end. You get so far deep into it, you can't get out of it. That's what I think may be likely, isn't it? Because people start threatening you and your family, and then you owe them money maybe for drugs, and it's really terrifying, actually, isn't it? But it's a slippery slope to get involved in that, and to, how do you get out of it? Because to me, if you were on bail for murder, and especially if you were innocent, but even if you were guilty, you would make sure the police, the police were following you, or they're likely to turn up at your house at any minute to search with a search warrant. Why would you still keep things that can, why would you? Honestly, I literally am beyond explaining that. This is something a friend of mine was saying, David. It's possible that they're informers, isn't it? Or there's something, or maybe the police are using them. I'd say it may not be deliberate by Madison and Johnny. Maybe the police prefer to have them on the outside where they can follow them and monitor them. Maybe they're thinking they might find other people that way. And that could be either deliberate from Madison and Johnny, to be informers, or it could be just the police preferring to have them on the outside. But then it seems like a real risk, doesn't it, to the community? I mean, these people are wandering around the community, but I'm sure they're being watched. Having said that, I expect they're on 24-hour watch. And anytime anything looked like in this instance where they started having an argument, apparently, and the police thought it was getting out of hand, you know, uh, they'll be being monitored. They'll be being followed everywhere they go, if possible, but it still seems a chance to me. So they've obviously taken those weapons off them, I would imagine, but what's to say they're not going to get hold of more weapons? Hi, Julie. How are you? Hope you're well. Lovely day here. Hope it's lovely where you are, because Julie is in Spain also. So yeah, what a tangled web we weave when we practice to deceive. So let's just see where we are. So this case all started with the tragic murder of John George. After that, we had, Johnny Smith running away and getting captured in Portugal. And then he's arrested. He was put in prison. Then Madison was arrested for a massive amount of drugs that she had in her car. It wasn't, a couple of spliffs. It was I can't even pronounce it, and weapons. Then Johnny was released on bail. Then Michael Maly, then Madison accidentally killed a man. Oh, before that, Dan McMeekin was stabbed in the neck outside a bar in Lasagna, nearly died. Then Madison killed a man by accident by running into the back of someone's car. Injured 4 people, 1 person died. Another British national. Then Michael Maly was shot in the head and brutally murdered. So, and then now another arrest for more gun offences. I just don't. It's mad, isn't it? It literally is. Every time I hear something more. Now the person who murdered, somebody's been arrested. A suspect has been arrested for the murder of Michael Maly and in Murcia, which is right in the south of Spain, next to Alicante region. The next region along is Murcia, and apparently and they're British as well. So these are all British people. Well, apart from Michael Maly, who is of course Czechoslovakian, but they're not Spanish people. No wonder the Spanish people. What did that old lady say to me? She said, "Oh, you foreigners, you only come here to to murder and commit crimes." And maybe she's right. Is this what the Spanish people think of us? This is like a telenovela. That's Spanish for a soap opera. This is like a soap opera, but it's true. EastEnders has got nothing on these people. They're just causing havoc everywhere they go. And it feels like they're getting away with it. It's like, why do they keep being released? Now, personally, I think if I was them, I'd rather be in prison at the moment because look at what happened to Michael Maly. I hope the police are watching. Is somebody going to go and put a hit on them or whatever happened with Michael Maly. It's so very sad. As I say, I feel this is just sad for everyone. It's sad for obviously John George, which is how it started, his family, his boys. It's sad for Michael Maly's family. It's sad for Johnny Smith's family, Madison's family. The poor guy who died in the car crash. It's just a Dan McMeekin. I felt sorry for it. I feel sorry for all of them because this is not the way to live, is it? It's not good. It's not good, and I don't know how it's all going to end up. It's a very, very sad situation. Anyway, let's just see what else Alison's got to say. So don't forget, you perhaps can't hear it. I can hear it. I'll tell you what she says. Oh, so apparently the guns that the police recovered are going to be tested to see if they've been involved in any other crimes. And she was saying there, so what day, we're on Tuesday now, she was saying that her source had said to her, he won't find anything out till Monday now. So I don't know if there's been any other news. All I know is I can't keep up with it. Every time I think, oh, I'm going to report on that, like something else happens. Just it's very sad. The whole thing is sad, I think. So she just said the same thing. What's going to happen next with that pair? They're like your sort of Bonnie and Clyde, pound shop Bonnie and Clyde, aren't they? What's is going to happen? You just don't know. And she said, I don't know what's going to happen. Anything could happen. It's a very volatile situation. It's very sad for everyone concerned, and yeah. So yeah, Madison has got, this is Madison's fourth pending investigation. How is she still out on bail? It's fishy, isn't it? It's fishy. And I know things work differently in Spain, but even so, if you're on bail for manslaughter, as Madison is, guns charges, weapons charges, drugs charges. Johnny on bail for murder. Say this is not shoplifting. They're not on bail for shoplifting. How many offences do they have to commit before their bail is revoked? And why is the reason it's not being revoked? It makes you think the police want them to be free for some reason. No, she's just. I'm following her on TikTok. I'd not let her go on TikTok that much these days. But yeah, that's where we. Let me just turn the sound on. It's a crazy story, isn't it? You literally, there's nothing on Netflix you would see like this, so you wouldn't believe it, would you? Would you think, oh, that can't all happen? Surely. So I just wanted to let you know what was happening. I wish the case, God, there's that many cases now pending on Madison and Johnny. I don't know which case is going to be the first to be heard. I believe the John George case, it will be the autumn before that case is heard. I feel for John George's family still, sort of seeing all these shenanigans, and they must be thinking, oh my God. And I know, at the end of the day, John got involved in this lifestyle, and he was a grown adult, and he got involved in it, and he has, that is his responsibility. I know that. But it's not his family's responsibility. It's not his boys' responsibility. They didn't do anything wrong. So, my heart will always go out to them. And even Michael Maly's family, even Johnny's family, they don't, you can't always choose what your children end up doing when they become adults. You can't choose it. You can't control it. And for Madison, I always I always try and find a little bit of sympathy for Madison, just because of how young she was, her being 19 when it all started off. And that to me, I know when you're 19 you don't think you're a kid, but as you get older you realise that at 19 you actually know nothing, do you? But you think you know it all. I wish I was as confident now as I was when I was 19, where I thought I knew everything. Now I don't think I know anything. Everything's a grey area now. So yeah, that is the story so far. Confused you will be. It's like that soap episode, isn't it? Again, it's one of those cases that's just turning it into that series that used to be on soap, where it was all really confusing. And I'm completely bamboozled as to why they've been, they're out free when they've obviously broken their bail conditions just by having weapons. Surely, their bail conditions have been breached. Surely, why are they not back in? So there's a reason for that. So they've been released for a reason, and as I say, maybe for the police to find out more about other people, or there's so many. They've been quite sort of, funnily enough, there's been quite a lot of, the police pages, Facebook pages, and Twitter, etc. They seem to have had quite a lot of success lately in breaking up drug gangs. Is that connected? Maybe. Are they getting information? I don't know what's going on, but it's quite scary. It's all going on in these lovely, sunny holiday places. It's all simmering below the scenes. Another terrible thing that happened not far away in Torrevieja, just a couple of miles from where Michael Maly was found murdered. There was a terrible, just at the weekend, a father suicide, killed his little girl. They were both found hanging in the garage. She was only a toddler. Absolutely terrible, so it's like, you just think, God, all these things that, when people say, it comes back to when people say all these crime stories we talk about, and people say, oh, nothing like that ever happens here. Unfortunately, bad things happen ever, don't they? And you just never know. So that's been a big blow to the community, for a child especially to be involved. Just awful. So there's been there was a day of mourning. There's been vigils. There's been minutes of silence for that. So that's a whole nother thing that's going on. Literally, I don't even want to look at any news at the moment. I don't like the international news. It's all about wars and things. I don't like the local news anymore. I don't like any news. But anyway, you know, then there's another part of me. What I do is I'll stay off the news for a while, but I am basically a news junkie, and I always end up going back to it. So that's just things I'm interested in. So anyway, I will keep you informed of any developments. Yeah, it was shocking, David. And I'll tell you, I haven't reported on it properly. I couldn't do a video about it because it's just too upsetting. You can imagine how the mother feels. It's one of those, it's a bit like a Travis Decker situation. Remember Travis Decker, that twonk? It's a bit like that. You know, it's like the father saying, well, if I can't have my daughter, no one's having her. The mother, or a way of punishing the mother. And so the mother's like, you know, absolutely distraught. You can imagine the whole town of Torrevieja, all the community is distraught. This twonk decided that, I don't know if they were in a separation situation. I don't know what the personal circumstances were, but it's like that Travis Decker taking off his daughters and doing what he did. Selfish twonk. Honestly, spinning in hell. I hope so. Totally spinning in hell to do that to his little girl and to also do it to the mother. But, you know, perhaps it was the mother he was trying to punish, you know. Selfish. Anyway, so we can't dwell on these things. Luckily, most people wouldn't dream of doing anything like that. You know, 99% of people in this world, they would not dream of it. But it's that other 1%, isn't it? It's that 1%. Okay, I will see you really soon in the next video. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, but most importantly, don't forget to look after yourself. And I'll see you really soon in the next video. And until then, may your God go with you. Bye.